My name is Ember Troy. I'm 41 years old, and until 7 months ago, I thought I understood what fear was. I was wrong. Real fear isn't the dark. It isn't failure. It isn't heartbreak. Real fear is waking up inside your own body and realizing you can't move a single muscle. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before everything collapsed, literally and figuratively, I was a senior software engineer, living a quiet, predictable life with my boyfriend of 9 years, Jared Wilson. We weren't perfect, but we were stable, steady. The kind of couple that other people called rock solid. I believed that, maybe because I needed to. Jared always said he loved my reliability, my calm, my loyalty. I didn't realize until much later that these were also the qualities he took most for granted. That day started like any other Saturday. Chilly morning, grocery list on my phone, coffee cooling in the cup holder. Jared stayed home, said he needed to catch up on work emails. I didn't think twice about it. We'd gotten comfortable that way. I wish I had noticed he didn't kiss me goodbye. I wish I had noticed he was smiling at his phone more than usual. I wish I had noticed anything. But I didn't. I was standing in this pasta aisle, comparing prices, debating if I should grab the expensive brand Jared liked or the cheaper one I always picked. I blinked. The lights blurred. A ringing sound filled my ears. Then my vision folded inward like a collapsing tunnel. The next thing I knew, I was on the cold tile floor, staring up at the fluorescent lights, unable to lift my head. Someone screamed for help. A cart rolled away. A man knelt beside me, asking if I could hear him. I could. I just couldn't answer. The world dimmed and brightened in strange, painful flashes as paramedics lifted me, secured me, rushed me through doors I couldn't see but could hear swinging open. The sirens sounded far away, like I was underwater. Inside the ambulance, a woman's voice said, "Possible stroke. Pupils reactive, but no movement." Stroke? No, that couldn't be right. I had things to do. I had a code review due Monday. I had groceries melting in my abandoned cart. And Jared. Where was Jared? When the ambulance doors opened again, it was chaos. Voices overlapping, machines beeping, shoes squeaking on polished floors. I knew the place even without seeing it. County General ICU. I'd volunteered there once during a college health tech project. Funny, the places life brings you back to. They ran scans, tests, needles, cooling pads, everything. I heard all of it, understood all of it, but my body stayed still. Finally, a doctor leaned close to my stretcher. Female, calm voice, controlled. "Ember, if you can hear me, we're doing everything we can. You've had a massive brainstem stroke. You're stable, but you're not responding physically." Her words shattered something in me. I tried to scream. Nothing happened. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt like melted glass dragging through my mind. Then I heard him. Jared. His voice drifted into the room before I saw him. A shaky inhale, a broken exhale. "Oh God, Ember?" His footsteps rushed to my bedside. I felt warmth near my neck, his hand, trembling. I wanted to turn my head toward him, wanted to tell him I was here, trapped but fighting. He cried, really cried. For a moment, that saved me. For a moment, I believed he loved me enough to stay. The doctor explained my condition again. Locked-in syndrome, she called it, a condition where the mind stays awake but the body shuts down. She explained brain swelling, nerve pathways, the unpredictability of recovery. Jared asked questions at first, good ones, thoughtful ones. When will she wake up? Will she be able to move again? What are her chances? I clung to every question like proof he still cared. But then his tone shifted. Subtle, a calmness that didn't match the panic he'd shown walking in. What happens if she doesn't improve? He asked. Not she, not Ember. The situation. The doctor hesitated. We give it time. Days, maybe weeks. We evaluate progress. Jared pressed. And if there isn't progress, what are our options? Our options. Not my options, not Ember's options. A coldness seeped through me, colder than the IV lines taped to my skin. The doctor explained quality of life decisions, long-term care, and medical proxy authority, which, since we lived together and had signed a cohabiting partner directive, belonged to Jared. He nodded slowly, calmly, too calmly. Right, okay. He said he'd stay the night. He didn't. 20 minutes later, he told the nurse he needed to make a few calls, needed to let people know, needed to process. I waited for him to return. He didn't. That night, machines hummed and clicked like insects whispering in the dark. I couldn't close my eyes, couldn't sleep, couldn't cry. Couldn't move. I just existed. Hours slipped through me in a sickly blur. At one point, a nurse came in to adjust my IV. She talked to another nurse as if I was a piece of furniture. Her boyfriend said he'll come back later, she murmured. He didn't look that upset, the other whispered. She's so young, such a shame. They left. I lay there staring at the ceiling, feeling like a ghost in my own life. And somewhere inside that void, a tiny voice whispered, "Something is wrong. Something is very wrong." But I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't warn anyone. I was a prisoner in my own body, and Jared was already pulling away. Little did I know, he wasn't just pulling away. He was already planning a life without me, and I was about to hear everything. Time loses its shape when you can't move. Minutes and hours blur until all you have left is the rhythm of machines and the echoes of footsteps passing your doorway. I measured my life by the beeping of my heart monitor, by the hiss of the ventilator, by the static voices of nurses who forgot I was still alive inside my silent shell. Day 2. Around noon, Jared finally showed up again. But he didn't come alone. My younger sister, Talia, rushed into the room ahead of him, eyes red, hair pulled into a messy bun, wearing the sweatshirt she always stole from my closet. She grabbed my hand without hesitation, squeezing it like she could somehow force life back into me. "Oh, Em," her voice cracked. "I'm here. I'm right here, okay? I'm not leaving." Her warmth seeped into my skin in a way I couldn't return, and the guilt of that almost hurt more than my useless limbs. Behind her, Jared lingered near the door. He looked tired, detached, phone in hand, thumb moving fast, texting, always texting. He gave a weak smile. "Hey, Em, Talia wanted to come. I figured it might help." "Help who?" My eyes tracked him, not that he noticed. Talia talked to me about everything, her classes, her new roommate, the stray cat she'd been trying to adopt. She spoke like she expected me to answer, like she still believed I was me. Jared sat quietly, checking his phone over and over. After half an hour, he stood up abruptly. "I need to handle some things. I'll be back." Talia froze mid-sentence. "You're leaving already?" "I've got a lot going on," Jared muttered. Ember would understand. Would I? Talia didn't argue, but I heard the silence she swallowed. She was never good at hiding her feelings. When the door clicked shut, she leaned close to my ear. "I don't know what his problem is," she whispered, "but I'm not going anywhere." And she didn't. She stayed for hours. Jared came back only after she left, and only for 20 minutes. That night, the emptiness of my room pressed against me so hard I felt like I was suffocating. Machines filled the space where my voice should have been. Shadows stretched across the ceiling, like the dark webs of the future pulling tighter around me. 8:00 p.m. Footsteps, calm, confident. I knew Jared's walk instantly. It had a weight to it, a familiar cadence. But this time, there were two sets of footsteps. A woman's voice drifted down the hall, soft, controlled, uneasy. "Are they sure she's not aware?" My heart clenched. Jared answered quietly, but the ICU walls were thin, and the door was cracked open, just enough. "They said she can't move." No response. "They think she's conscious, maybe, but it doesn't mean anything." "Doesn't mean anything?" Those words sliced cleaner than any scalpel. The woman spoke again. "Jared, I don't know. This feels wrong." Her voice was careful, familiar in a way I couldn't place yet. Jared sighed. "We can't keep living in limbo. I told you months ago that Ember and I were done. This just sped things up." My heart monitor spiked violently. The sound filled the hallway. The woman hissed, "Someone's coming." Footsteps scrambled away, rapid, panicked. A nurse rushed in. "Sweetheart, your heart rate's too high. Are you in pain?" I wanted to scream, "Yes, I'm in pain. I'm in hell. Help me. They're planning something. He's not who you think he is." But my body stayed still. The nurse adjusted the IV. A warm heaviness crept through my veins. Everything blurred. When I came back to consciousness, sunlight filtered weakly through the blinds. Day 3. Jared was back, this time sitting in the chair next to my bed. Not alone. The woman from the hallway sat beside him, her hand resting gently, too gently, on his shoulder. She wore a perfume I recognized immediately, a floral, expensive scent I had once tried on at a department store and put back because the price tag had made me flinch. She wore it like a signature. She leaned over me, pretending to examine the machines, though her eyes were fixed on Jared. "Do they know anything new yet?" she asked. The entitlement in her tone was unmistakable. "She should not have been here. ICU rules are strict. Only family. Unless Jared told the nurses she was family." The doctor entered, different from the first, younger, more clinical. She checked my chart, tapped something on the monitor. No significant improvement. She's stable but not responsive. Jared leaned forward. But is she aware? Can she understand us? We can't say definitively. The woman beside him tensed. Jared avoided her eyes. What happens now? He pushed. For now, we monitor. The brain can surprise us. And if it doesn't? Then we discuss long-term options, the doctor said. With family. Jared nodded. I'm her partner. I'll be here for all decisions. The woman's fingers tightened around the chair. Not jealousy, fear. Then Jared did something that iced my blood. He stood, moved to my bedside, and leaned over me. Too close. Ember, he whispered. If you can hear me, I just want you to know. I'm sorry, but I can't put my life on hold forever. Sorry? For what? The doctor left. The woman spoke in a low, hurried voice. How much longer are you going to drag this out? I don't know, Jared whispered. I just need the doctors to see she's not improving. Jared, we can't move forward until this is resolved. The word resolved felt like poison dripping on my skin. Resolved, like I was a problem, an obstacle, an inconvenience. They left together a minute later. This time, Jared didn't even look back at me. That night, 2 nurses came in to adjust my IV. They spoke casually, not realizing every word was a dagger. Boyfriend barely visits, one muttered. And he was here earlier with that woman. She's definitely not his sister. Cold. Some people just can't handle this stuff. I wanted to scream, to break free, to tear the IVs out, to tell someone, anyone, that Jared wasn't just abandoning me. He was waiting for the right moment to get rid of me. And he wasn't alone. That was the night something inside me hardened. Not hope, not fear. Survival. Because if Jared wanted me gone, then I needed to claw my way back into this world. Even if it started with nothing more than a single eyelash twitch. There is a moment, an exact, terrible moment, when you stop waiting to be saved and you start saving yourself. For me, that moment came in the early hours of day 4, somewhere between the soft hiss of oxygen and the quiet betrayal of the man I had loved for nearly a decade. Jared wanted me gone. That truth sat inside me like a shard of ice, sharp and unmoving. He wasn't grieving, he wasn't praying, he wasn't hoping. He was waiting for the doctors to say I was beyond help, waiting for the chance to slip quietly out of the life we built, waiting to start over with the woman whose perfume still clung to my bedsheets when he left the room. If I didn't fight for myself, no one would. But first, I had to survive my own body. It was around 2 a.m. when I heard them, the nurses changing shifts, chatting softly, unaware that the non-responsive patient could hear every syllable. The curtain swished aside. Nurse number 1. Poor woman. She's been like this for days. Nurse number 2. Her boyfriend barely shows up. When he does, he acts like he's waiting for bad news. Nurse number 1. I saw him yesterday with another woman. Girlfriend, maybe? Nurse number 2. While Ember's in the ICU? That's cold. They meant it casually, but to me, each word was a strike of lightning in a dark sky. They moved around me, checking lines, adjusting machines. Her vitals look fine, one murmured. It's just, nothing's firing. Nothing's firing. Nothing. Was that true, or was I simply not firing enough? The nurses left. The door clicked. Silence returned. Then something inside me, something primal, fueled by fury and heartbreak and raw will, rose like a warning siren. Move. Not a plea, not a hope, an order. Move. Move. I tried my eyes first. They blink sometimes, involuntarily, reflexive. But could I do it deliberately? I stared at the dim light over my bed, counted silently. 1, 2. Blink. I wasn't sure if it was intentional or coincidence, so I tried again. 1, 2. Blink. A spark flickered inside me. Tiny, fragile, but real. I wasn't gone. Something in my brain still worked. Something still listened. Good, good. Do it again. I kept blinking, rhythmically, all night. Each blink felt like lifting a mountain, but I did it, again and again, until my eyelids trembled with exhaustion. Next, the hand. My right hand, my dominant hand, my lifeline. I focused on my pinky finger, willing it to twitch, imagining every nerve, every signal, every pathway, lighting up like a city powering back online. Twitch. Nothing. Try again. Twitch. Still nothing. My heartbeat thudded angrily. Try again. Twitch. And a ripple, so faint it felt imaginary, ran through the fingertip. I tried again. A second twitch. Stronger. I wasn't imagining it. Tears burned behind my eyes, not from sadness, but from the fierce, white-hot realization that I was not helpless. I kept going. Hours passed. Twitch became movement. Movement became taps. By sunrise, I could tap my two smallest fingers against the bed rail. Not much, but enough. When morning rounds began, the room filled with the routine chatter of nurses prepping charts. A nurse leaned over my bed, checking my IV. "Good morning, Ember. Let's see how you're—" Tap. She froze. Tap, tap. She sucked in a breath. Doctor, I think she's moving. Her fingers are moving." Suddenly, the room exploded into motion. Doctors rushed in. Machines beeped. Questions poured over me like rain. "Ember, if you can hear me, blink twice." I blinked, twice. A collective gasp. The neurologist leaned forward, eyes shining with disbelief. "She's conscious, fully conscious." They began tests. Light stimulus, commands, speech reflexes. My body obeyed when it could, fought when it couldn't, but every response was a miracle to them. To me, it was proof. Proof that Jared hadn't won. Proof that I was still here. He arrived 2 hours later. Jared stepped into the room holding a bouquet of cheap grocery store flowers, like he'd grabbed whatever was closest. His face was pulled tight, too tight, in a way that wasn't relief. More like dread. The doctor greeted him. "Good news. Ember is showing strong signs of recovery. She can respond to commands." Jared's expression flickered. He hit it fast, but I saw it. Not joy, not hope. Fear. "So, she's getting better?" he asked, voice thin. "Yes," the doctor replied. "Her brain activity is promising. She's regaining small motor functions. It's early, but she's aware." Aware. The word hit him like a slap. His jaw tensed. His eyes darted toward the door. I need to step out for a moment." He backed toward the hallway. "Just to call someone." "Call who?" The doctor left. The door closed. And then I heard him. "Just outside." His voice was sharp, urgent, hushed, but the hallway amplified everything. "She's waking up. No, they said she's aware. Yes, she could have heard things. I don't know how much." A pause. "Don't come yet. They're all watching her. I need time." Time for what? To cover his tracks? To prepare his story? To figure out how to explain why another woman had her hands all over him while I lay dying? Jared's voice cracked. "Just don't call me for a while, please." He hung up. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I wasn't scared of him. I was furious. By the end of the day, more movement returned. My right hand, a few toes. My jaw twitched, though it felt like lifting concrete. Every inch of improvement was paid for with the memory of that conversation, of Jared's guilt and panic. He had been so sure I would never wake up, so sure he could rewrite the story, so sure my silence would bury his secrets. But survival isn't always gentle. Sometimes survival is fueled by fire. Sometimes survival is the quiet vow. I will recover. I will speak. And when I do, you will finally hear me. Recovery isn't a straight line. It's a jagged, uneven climb, filled with tiny victories the world can't see, and brutal setbacks that no one prepares you for. But for me, every twitch, every breath, every shaky muscle spark felt like reclaiming territory Jared thought he had already lost. And I wanted it all back. Not just my body, my truth. By the end of week 2, my speech had graduated from mangled whispers to short, slurred sentences. It wasn't pretty, but it was mine. The first clear thing I said was my sister's name. Talia burst into tears right there beside my bed. "Oh my God, Em, you're talking. You're actually talking." Jared wasn't there to witness it. He showed up late that evening with lukewarm takeout for himself and the look of someone who was trying too hard to pretend he was supportive. I didn't bother hiding the way my eyes followed him, or the way my fingers tightened weakly around the bed rail when he came close. He leaned over me, voice syrupy, too sweet. "Hey, baby, you look better today." I blinked once. Slow, cold. He pretended to smile, but the corners of his mouth twitched. Good. Let him feel it. Let him feel everything I couldn't say yet. When Talia returned the next morning, I didn't waste a second. With effort, I managed, "Phone." "What? You want your phone?" she asked gently. I blinked twice. Yes. Talia hesitated. Jared said he'd bring it." Blink, blink, blink. She understood. Her eyes sharpened. "Okay, I'll go to your apartment. I'll get it myself." She kissed my forehead, whispered, "I don't trust him either." Hours later, she returned with my phone and charger tucked under her arm like contraband. "Got it," she said. "Jared wasn't home." Of course he wasn't. Probably with her. Talia plugged the phone in and placed it in my hand, guiding my fingers over the surface. It took me a long time. painfully long, to swipe, tap, navigate. But with each slow movement, I felt more human, more in control. We had a shared cell plan. Jared was too lazy to switch carriers, so I stayed on his plan for years. But I was the one who handled the account. Billing, data usage. I remembered the login like muscle memory. When the dashboard loaded, I saw it immediately. A number messaged hundreds of times over the last several months. Thousands of messages. Mostly late at night. Often while he was supposedly working late. The name attached through reverse lookup hit me like a gut punch. Lana Chen, Senior Sales Director at Jared's company. Pretty, polished, perfect hair, perfect smile, someone whose life always looked curated and effortless. I'd met her once at Jared's company dinner. She shook my hand and complimented my dress. And she was the woman in my ICU room. The woman on the phone. The woman he didn't want calling him anymore. My chest tightened, not from heartbreak, but from the violent clarity of betrayal. Talia watched my expression twist, her own face darkening. Who is she? I forced the word out. His ex? Talia stared. He said they broke up years ago, before he met you. I blinked slowly. Lied. He lied. A storm built behind Talia's eyes. Okay, we're not doing this alone. She grabbed her phone. We're calling a lawyer. I blinked twice. Yes. Absolutely yes. Enter Patricia Morris, a woman whose presence filled my hospital room like a sharpened blade. Late 40s, sleek suit, hair pulled tight in a practical bun, expression permanently set to, I will destroy anyone who underestimates my client. She sat beside me, notebook open. Ms. Troy, your sister has given me a summary of what's happened. I need to hear it from you as clearly as possible. My voice was shaky, slow, but the words came. Hear them in hall, Jared, her, pull, plug. Patricia nodded thoughtfully, not pityingly. You were conscious the entire time? Blink, blink. Did you hear anything suggesting intent to withdraw care prematurely? Blink, blink. Infidelity? Blink. Attempts to mislead medical staff? Blink. Patricia's pen moved fast, disciplined. We can work with this. Very unusual case, but strong. She turned toward Talia. First, we need to remove Mr. Wilson as her medical proxy. Now. Talia straightened. How? Emergency petition for temporary guardianship. Will claim negligence, conflict of interest, and endangerment. She scribbled again. Next, power of attorney. Who do you trust most? My breath trembled. My voice cracked. Leah. Talia squeezed my arm. I've got you, Em. Every step. Good, Patricia continued. Once those motions are filed, Mr. Wilson will no longer have legal authority to make decisions about Ember's care. I blinked once at Patricia. She shook her head softly. Oh, honey, we're not done. She leaned forward, voice cooler, sharper. Next, divorce. Talia frowned. But they're not married. Patricia smirked. Domestic partnership dissolution, joint assets, legal rights, same process. Then she listed the grounds. Extreme cruelty, abandonment during medical crisis, attempted withdrawal of necessary care, infidelity, misrepresentation to medical staff, and, she added, flipping a page, the life insurance policy. I froze. She continued, $500,000, correct? And he is the beneficiary? Talia sucked in a sharp breath. Oh my God. Patricia tapped her pen. Financial motive layered over his actions paints a very damning picture. A chill crawled down my spine. Did Jared want me gone for love? Or for money? Or both? Patricia closed her file decisively. We'll file everything first thing in the morning. Talia exhaled shakily. How long until the judge signs it? This case? Patricia smiled like a woman who had already won. A day, maybe 2. And she was right. By the end of the next day, legal orders were signed. Jared removed as my medical decision-maker, Talia appointed in his place. Jared blocked from accessing my records without permission. Emergency financial protection filed. Domestic partnership dissolution officially in progress. All while Jared walked around confident, smug, believing I was still trapped, mute, helpless, unaware. He had no clue the ground beneath him had already cracked open. He had no idea karma was already sharpening its teeth. And he had no idea. The next time he walked into my room, I'd be waiting. There is a special kind of silence in a hospital room right before a storm breaks. Not the peaceful kind, not the healing kind. No, this was the silence of truth sharpening itself, waiting to be unleashed. The motions were filed. The judge had signed them. Jared no longer had authority over my life, my body, or my future. He just didn't know it yet. But he was about to. He walked into my room the next morning with the kind of smile men use when they think they're about to get away with something. "Hey, Em," he said softly, holding a bouquet of cheap gas station flowers, petals already browning at the edges. "Thought these might cheer you up." I blinked once. Talia sat in the corner, arms crossed, glaring at him like she was ready to leap out of her chair and break his jaw. Jared either didn't notice or pretended he didn't. He set the flowers on my table, then stepped closer. "You're looking better," he murmured, talking a little now. That's good." The tremor under his voice betrayed him, not relief. Fear. I let the silence sit between us, thick, heavy, suffocating. Then I breathed in, slow, controlled. "Where's Lana?" His entire face collapsed for half a second, barely a flicker, but I saw it all. A micro-expression of pure, unfiltered horror. Who?" he stammered. "Lana," I repeated, clearer this time. "Your ex." Talia stood. "Oh? The one you've been texting hundreds of times a month while my sister was lying here? That Lana?" Jared's mouth opened and closed like he was searching for air. You're confused," he said quickly. "The stroke, your memory. It must be—" "My memory," I met his gaze head-on, "is fine." His composure shattered, his breathing quickened. I continued, voice slow but sharp. "I heard you, hallway, ICU, you, her, talking about moving on." The color drained from his face. "No," he whispered. "No, you couldn't have—" "Locked in syndrome," I said. "Not unconscious." Talia let out a humorless laugh. "She heard everything, Jared. Every word you thought you could hide." He backed away from the bed, palms sweating. "Ember, I didn't mean—" "Pull the plug?" I forced out. "That what you didn't mean?" Jared froze. Silence filled the room again. This time, not waiting for truth. This time, waiting for justice. A knock on the door. Perfect timing. Patricia Morris entered the room like a force of nature, black folder in hand, expression cold and efficient. "Mr. Wilson," she said with a polite nod that somehow felt like a threat. "I am Patricia Morris. I represent Ember." Jared looked like someone had slammed a fist into his stomach. "I represent?" he sputtered. Why does she need a lawyer?" Patricia opened her folder, removing a thick envelope. "Because," she said calmly, "you've been served." She handed him the documents. Jared stared down at them, confused, until he saw the bold header. "Emergency removal of medical proxy and dissolution of domestic partnership." He choked. What is this?" Patricia adjusted her glasses. "Legal separation, termination of your authority, protective orders, financial isolation, and notification of conflict of interest during a medical crisis." His eyes shot up. "That's not legal. She's not capable of—" "She is," Patricia cut in smoothly. "2 psychiatrists conducted full evaluations. She passed both, and she has already signed every document." He shook his head violently. No, this is insane. Ember, sweetheart, listen to me." "Don't," I said. The word was small, but it carried weight. He flinched. "You weren't here," I continued. "Not really. You left me, lied to me, brought her here. And you tried to make decisions, to end things, while I was still fighting." Jared snapped. "I was trying to help you," he exploded, hands shaking. "What was I supposed to do, Ember? Watch you lie here forever? Watch my life, our life, fall apart?" Talia stepped forward, voice low and lethal. "So your solution was to bring your girlfriend to the ICU and discuss pulling my sister off life support?" "She's not my girlfriend," he shot back. "Anymore," Talia added. "Right?" His silence said everything. Patricia tapped her pen against her folder. "Mr. Wilson, you should know the judge took particular interest in the life insurance policy you were set to inherit." His eyes widened. "You think I wanted her dead?" he shouted. "You think I'm a killer?" "No," I said quietly. "Not killer, just coward." A long electric silence filled the air. Jared's chest heaved. His eyes darted between all of us, searching for an escape, searching for sympathy, searching for any version of this reality in which he wasn't the villain. But there wasn't one. He gestured angrily at Patricia's folder. "Fine. You want out? You're delusional. You're barely recovered. You can't make decisions like this." Patricia's smile was surgical, and yet she already has. The court has recognized her competency and approved every petition. Jared shook his head, voice breaking. "You're going to regret this, Ember." I lifted my chin, slow but intentional. "No," I whispered. "My only regret is loving you." He stared at me, wide, wounded eyes, then shoved the papers onto the chair and stormed out of the room. The bouquet of dying flowers tipped over as he brushed past. The door slammed. Silence. But it wasn't the silence of fear anymore. It was the silence of freedom. Talia exhaled shakily, turning toward me. You did it, Em. No. We did it. And Jared? He had no idea the worst was still coming. Healing isn't just physical. Sometimes the body recovers faster than the heart. Sometimes the muscles grow stronger long before trust does. Sometimes the scariest scars aren't visible on any scan. But I was alive. Alive in a way I hadn't been even before the stroke. And that had everything to do with the fact that I finally saw the truth. The whole truth. About the man I had spent 9 years loving. The legal battle lasted 4 months. But every day of it felt like stitching a new piece of myself back together. By week 3 of physical therapy, I could stand with support. By week 5, I climbed 5 stairs. By week 8, I could lift a coffee mug, my hand shaking, but still mine. Sometimes progress came in waves, sometimes in inches, and sometimes in breathless, unexpected moments, like the day my therapist said, Ember, try walking without the brace. And I actually did. 18 steps, 18 uneven, trembling steps that felt like crossing a finish line. Talia cried that day. My therapist cried. Even I cried. Something I hadn't been able to do when I was locked inside my own body. But not once did Jared show up. Not to apologize, not to fight, not even to pretend. Patricia told me he was cooperating. After his lawyer realized the evidence against him was a professional lightning strike. No judge wanted to side with a partner who brought his secret girlfriend to an ICU, asked about life-ending decisions within 72 hours, and was caught in a web of phone records and financial motives. And then Lana dumped him. Patricia found out through court filings. Lana submitted a sworn statement that she had no knowledge of Ember's condition and regretted any emotional involvement that created confusion. It was a legally polite way of saying, I didn't know he was this disgusting. Good. Let them both rot in the mess they made. When the final court hearing came, I didn't attend in person. I was still doing daily rehab. But Patricia called me immediately afterward. Her voice was crisp, triumphant. It's done, she said. He gets nothing. The dissolution was finalized. No alimony, no shared assets, no claim to my medical decisions, no access to my accounts, no power over my future, everything severed. A clean cut, a deep one, a necessary one. A few weeks later, when I was strong enough to grocery shop again, Talia insisted on coming with me. It's symbolic, she said, full circle, and you need new pasta anyway. It felt strange walking into the same store where my life had collapsed, strange and heavy and surreal. I paused in the doorway, letting the hum of freezer fans wash over me. My hand brushed against the metal of the shopping cart. Cold, familiar, alive. Step by step, I pushed forward. Talia wandered off to grab produce. I was comparing 2 brands of pasta, ironically, the same ones I had reached for before the stroke, when a voice froze the air around me. Ember? I turned, and there he was. Jared, but not the polished, charming man I once knew. This version of him was hollow-eyed, thinner, unshaven. His clothes looked wrinkled, his expression washed out and brittle, like someone who had been running from consequences he finally realized he couldn't outrun. He stared at me like he was seeing a ghost. Wow, he breathed. You look good. Better. I blinked, expression blank. He took a hesitant step forward. I've been meaning to reach out, to see how you were doing. I didn't want to overwhelm you. Overwhelm me? That sentence alone almost made me laugh. But I said nothing. Silence was safer. Silence was power. He swallowed. Ember, I made mistakes. I know that. But I loved you. I did. And No. The word came out sharp, steady, unbroken. It startled him. No, he echoed. No, I repeated. You loved convenience, safety, what I gave you, not me. He opened his mouth to argue, but I lifted my hand, steady this time, and he stopped. When I was lying in that hospital bed, I said, paralyzed, unable to speak, unable to move. I listened to you plan a life where I didn't exist. He paled. That's not fair. You planned to pull the plug within days. He tensed. I panicked. You brought your lover into my ICU room. Ember! You waited for me to die. His throat bobbed. That's not true. It is, I said simply. And the worst part isn't what you did. He frowned. Then what? That you thought I'd forgive you. His face cracked. A single tear escaped. The manipulative kind he used whenever he wanted sympathy. I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not even satisfaction. Just neutrality, absence, completion. Jared's voice broke. Can we at least talk? Please? I lost everything. I'm alone. I stepped past him. He reached out as if to catch my arm, but Talia appeared out of nowhere, swatting his hand away with a glare sharp enough to slice steel. Touch her, she warned, and I will end you. Jared stepped back, trembling. I didn't look at him again. I didn't need to. I had already left him behind long before walking out of that aisle. Today, my speech is clear. My mobility is almost fully restored, about 85%, the neurologist says. My left side is weaker, but I can walk, cook, code, live. And I'm living. A new apartment, a new tech job, a new routine built from the ashes of the old one. I'm not dating, not because I'm afraid, but because I'm rebuilding myself, carefully, intentionally, stronger than before. Sometimes, late at night, I think back to those moments in the ICU when I was trapped inside my body, listening to the man I loved quietly hope I'd never recover. And I realized something. I didn't survive in spite of Jared. I survived because of what he did. His betrayal lit a fire inside me that refused to go out. His cruelty forced me to fight harder than I ever had. His indifference